The warning came at midnight. Captain James Walker stood on the bridge of the EDS Defender, Earth's most advanced space station, when the sensors lit up like a Christmas tree. At first, he thought the system was broken. Nothing could create energy readings that massive. "Sir," the young radar operator's voice shook. "Multiple objects detected at the edge of the solar system. They're bigger than anything we've ever seen." Walker leaned forward, his coffee cup forgotten in his hand. The holographic display showed hundreds of red dots appearing around Pluto's orbit. Each dot was the size of a small city. "Get me Earth Command," he ordered, his voice steady despite the cold fear in his gut. "And wake up everyone. Now." The space around Pluto began to twist. Dark shapes emerged from what looked like tears in space itself. First tens, then hundreds of ships appeared, their hulls black as night and shaped like giant arrowheads. They moved with impossible speed, crossing the distance that light took hours to travel in mere minutes. "This is Earth Command." General Roberts' face appeared on the main screen. "What's the situation, Captain?" "Sir, we're under attack." Walker's words felt unreal even as he said them. "I count over 500 ships of unknown origin. They're surrounding the solar system in a sphere formation." The alien ships moved with perfect coordination. Like a swarm of deadly insects, they positioned themselves in an expanding sphere, cutting off all escape routes from Earth. Then the first message came. It blasted through every radio frequency, every TV channel, and every computer screen on Earth and in space. The aliens spoke perfect English, their voice a strange mix of mechanical and organic sounds. "Humans of Earth," the message began, "your civilization has been deemed unworthy of continued independent existence. Surrender now, and you will serve the swarm. Resist, and you will be eliminated. You have 1 Earth hour to decide." General Roberts' face had gone pale, but his voice remained firm. "Captain Walker, initiate Defense Protocol Alpha. All ships to battle stations. This is not a drill." The next hour was chaos. Earth's defense fleet, just 50 ships and 20 space stations, scrambled to form a defensive line. Emergency sirens wailed in every city on Earth. Military bases worldwide went into full alert. Walker watched as Earth's ships took up their positions. They looked so small compared to the alien fleet. The Defender Station's weapons came online, their charging sequence humming through the hull. "Sir," his communications officer called out, "we're getting reports of panic in major cities." The alien message reached everyone. "There's chaos in the streets." Walker nodded grimly. "Tell Earth Command we're in position. All weapons are hot." The hour passed too quickly. The alien ships started moving before anyone could react. They accelerated toward Earth with impossible speed. The first shots weren't energy beams or missiles. They were some kind of purple light that simply made things disappear. "Evasive maneuvers," Walker shouted as a purple beam headed straight for them. The massive space station groaned as its engines pushed it sideways, barely avoiding the shot. 3 Earth ships vanished in the first volley. No explosions, no debris. They simply ceased to exist. "Return fire. All batteries," Walker ordered. The Defender's rail guns and plasma cannons roared to life, sending streams of projectiles and energy toward the nearest alien ship. Their best shots bounced off invisible shields. The alien ships didn't even slow down. "Sir," the sensor operator's voice cracked. "They're targeting civilian populations. The beams are heading for major cities." Walker watched in horror as purple beams struck Earth's surface. But something unexpected happened. The planetary defense shields, considered outdated by most, actually reflected the alien weapons. The purple beams scattered into the atmosphere, creating eerie aurora-like effects. "Get me Earth Command," Walker shouted over the chaos of battle. "The old shields are working. They're actually working." But before he could relay this discovery, an alien beam struck the Defender's port side. Walker was thrown against his command chair as emergency sirens blared. Half the bridge went dark. Hull breach on decks 3 through 7. Someone shouted, "We're losing power." As the Defender's systems failed one by one, Walker saw more alien ships appearing. The first wave had just been the beginning. Now thousands of ships darkened Earth's skies, their weapons charging for another attack. The battle for Earth had begun, and humanity was losing. But they hadn't lost yet. Admiral Kate Thompson stood in the underground war room beneath the Rocky Mountains, watching Earth's defenses crumble on the giant screen. Her gray hair was messy from running her hands through it too many times, but her eyes remained sharp and focused. "Get me Colonel Mike Russell," she ordered. "Now." The staff officers around her exchanged worried looks. Everyone knew Mike Russell, the legendary Special Operations Commander who'd quit 5 years ago after disagreeing with the military's peaceful approach to space defense. While they waited, more red dots disappeared from the screen. Each one represented hundreds of dead soldiers and civilians. The alien swarm was methodically destroying every military base they could find. "Mom," a young officer called out, "the aliens are having trouble with something. Look at India." Thompson leaned forward. The officer was right. The swarm's purple beams were acting strange over India. They seemed to scatter and weaken around the country's massive cell phone tower networks. Before she could process this information, the screen crackled. A bearded face appeared. Mike Russell, looking older but still tough as nails. "Kate," he said simply, "guess you were right about the aliens. No time for, 'I told you so,' Mike. I need you back. Project Thunder is ready." Russell's eyes widened. Project Thunder was the military's secret weapon program, something so classified that most world leaders didn't know about it. "The bunkers?" he asked. Thompson nodded. "All 20 of them. We've got 300 prototype ships ready to launch. They're not pretty, but they're tough, and they're powered by something the aliens haven't seen before." "I'll be there in an hour," Russell said, then paused. "If I survive the trip. Those purple beams are everywhere. We'll send a special transport. And Mike, bring your old team. All of them." The screen went dark just as another alarm blared. The swarm had found another military base to destroy. Thompson turned to her staff. "Time for Phase 1. Launch the Thunder Fleet." Deep underground, all across Earth, hidden doors opened in mountains and deserts. Steel rails carried strange-looking ships toward the surface. They were ugly compared to normal spaceships. Blocky, covered in thick armor, with weapons bolted on at odd angles. But they had something special inside them. Something that Thompson and her team had discovered in an ancient meteor 5 years ago. "Thunder Fleet launching in 5 minutes," the computer announced. "All personnel to battle stations." Thompson watched as the first ships broke through their hidden doors. The swarm noticed them immediately, turning their deadly weapons toward the new threats. But something strange happened. The purple beams hit the thunder ships and bounced off. Not because of shields, but because of what the ships were made of. The alien weapons couldn't decide if the material was solid or energy, so they just slid off. "All thunder ships, engage at will," Thompson ordered. "Show them what Earth can do." The thunder ships opened fire. Their weapons weren't elegant beams or precise lasers. They fired chunks of the same meteor material, accelerated to near light speed. When these chunks hit the alien shields, they passed right through as if the shields weren't even there. 3 swarm ships exploded in the first volley. For a moment, everything stopped. Even the aliens seemed shocked that their supposedly invincible ships could be destroyed. Then all hell broke loose. The swarm turned all their weapons on the Thunder Fleet. Purple beams filled the sky, but for every thunder ship they managed to destroy, they lost 2 of their own. "Ma'am," one of the officers called out, "Colonel Russell's transport is approaching. But there's a problem. 6 swarm ships are chasing them." Thompson grabbed the microphone. "Thunder Squadron 5, protect that transport at all costs. The colonel has to survive." She watched as 5 thunderships broke formation to help Russell. They dove through the purple beams, firing their meteor weapons. 4 swarm ships exploded, but the last 2 kept coming. Russell's transport weaved and dodged, showing piloting skills that reminded everyone why he was a legend. He made it to the base just as the last 2 swarm ships exploded under Thunder Squadron's attack. "Colonel Russell has landed," the computer announced. Thompson allowed herself a small smile. The first part of her plan had worked. Earth had bloodied the swarm's nose. Now it was time for Phase 2. "Get me the president," she ordered. "Tell him Project Thunder is a success, and tell him it's time to wake up the rest of our surprises." The war for Earth was far from over, but for the first time since the invasion began, humanity had hope. Dr. Tom Porter wasn't a soldier. He was just a radio astronomer who loved listening to the stars. But right now, he was staring at something that could change the course of the war. "Admiral Thompson," he shouted, bursting into the war room. "You need to see this." Thompson looked up from her battle plans, Colonel Russell at her side. They had been planning the next Thunder Fleet attack, but the excitement in Porter's voice made them pause. "Look at this pattern," Porter said, spreading his charts on the table. "Every time our radio telescopes are active, the nearby swarm ships start acting strange. They get confused, like they're dizzy." Russell leaned over the charts. "What do you mean dizzy?" "Their ships start moving in circles. Their weapons miss more often. And look at this, they completely avoid areas with high radioactivity." Thompson's eyes widened. "That's why they couldn't attack India properly. All those communication towers." "Exactly." Porter pointed to more data. "Earth has been broadcasting radio waves into space for over 100 years. We're surrounded by our own signals: TV, radio, cell phones, Wi-Fi. We're the noisiest planet in space." Just then, alarms blared. A swarm attack fleet was approaching the base. "Dr. Porter," Thompson said quickly, "what happens if we increase the radio signals?" "I don't know, but try it. Now." Porter ran to the communications room. His fingers flew over the controls, turning every radio transmitter in the area to maximum power. He created a new frequency, combining all the signals into one massive broadcast. Outside, the swarm ships suddenly stopped. Their perfect formation broke apart. Some ships started spinning, while others fired their weapons randomly into space. "It's working." Russell grabbed Porter's shoulder. "They're losing control." Thompson was already giving orders. "All Thunder ships, attack the confused enemy vessels. And somebody get those radio transmitters working worldwide." The battle that followed was unlike anything in human history. Thunder ships darted between the confused swarm vessels, firing their meteor weapons while broadcasting powerful radio signals. The alien ships couldn't maintain their shields properly. They flickered and failed under the assault of Earth's digital noise. "Ma'am," a young officer called out, "we're detecting something from the closest swarm ship. It looks like data." Porter rushed to check the readings. "They use quantum signals to communicate. That's why our radio waves disrupt them. Their entire fleet is connected by quantum links, like a giant brain." "Can we tap into their communications?" Thompson asked. "Better than that," Porter said, his eyes shining with excitement. "We can jam them. Every TV show, every radio song, every cell phone call we've ever made. It's all still bouncing around in space. We can use it as a weapon." Russell grinned. "You mean we can give the aliens a headache with old TV shows?" "More than a headache. Look." On the main screen, they watched as more swarm ships lost control. Earth's radio sphere, the bubble of broadcasts that had been expanding into space for decades, was actually pushing the alien fleet back. "Admiral," Porter said, "I need access to every radio telescope and transmitter on Earth. If we can boost our signals and target them properly." "Do it," Thompson ordered. "And someone get me the president. He needs to know we found their weakness." Hours later, the results were clear. Humanity had found its secret weapon, not advanced technology or powerful guns, but the very noise that made Earth seem primitive to the swarm. Every radio, TV, and cell tower on the planet was now a weapon. Porter worked through the night, creating what he called the Echo Protocol, a way to focus Earth's radiosphere into a powerful weapon. The swarm's quantum communication network, which made them so deadly and coordinated, was also their greatest weakness. "We've got them," Thompson said, watching more alien ships retreat from Earth's growing radio barrier. "For the first time, we've really got them." But in the midst of their celebration, a new alert sounded. The swarm ships were gathering for another attack. This time, they were changing tactics. The real test of Earth's new weapon was about to begin. Admiral Thompson watched the massive holographic display as thousands of dots representing swarm ships gathered at the edge of Earth's radiosphere. The aliens had changed their ships, covering them with some kind of dark material that seemed to absorb radio waves. "They're adapting," Colonel Russell said grimly, "just like we hoped they wouldn't." "No," Dr. Porter interrupted, running into the room with a tablet in his hand. "This is exactly what we wanted." Everyone turned to look at him. Porter's eyes were red from lack of sleep, but he was smiling. "The swarm's trying to block our radio waves," he explained. "But to do that, they had to change their quantum communication network. They're not one big brain anymore. They've split into smaller groups." Thompson understood immediately. They're easier to defeat if they're not working together. "All ships, prepare for Operation Thunderstrike." Earth's defense fleet had been practicing this plan for days. The Thunder ships, now equipped with powerful radio transmitters, split into small groups. Each group targeted a different section of the swarm fleet. "Look at their formation," Russell pointed out. "They're still thinking like one big army, but they can't coordinate like before." He was right. The swarm ships tried to move together, but without their perfect communication, they kept getting in each other's way. Some ships fired too early, others too late. "All ships, attack pattern Delta," Thompson ordered. "Push them back group by group." The battle that followed was chaos, but a chaos that favored Earth. Thunder ships darted between the larger swarm vessels, their meteor weapons punching through the aliens' weakened defenses. Every time a group of swarm ships tried to coordinate, Earth's radio weapons would scramble their signals. "Mom," a young officer called out, "the Chinese fleet is reporting success. They've broken through the eastern defensive line." More reports flooded in. The European fleet had destroyed 30 swarm ships with minimal losses. The African defense grid was holding strong. The South American squadrons were pushing north, trapping a large group of alien ships between them and the North American fleet. "Dr. Porter," Thompson turned to the scientist, "how's the Echo Protocol coming?" Porter looked up from his work. "Almost ready. We've loaded every Earth radio broadcast we could find into the system. When we activate it..." He was interrupted by a massive explosion on the main screen. A group of swarm ships had sacrificed themselves, ramming into Earth's defense line. "They're getting desperate," Russell said. "They've never faced an enemy they couldn't beat quickly." Thompson nodded. "All ships, hold position. Dr. Porter, we need that Echo Protocol now." Porter's fingers flew over his control panel, broadcasting in 3, 2, 1. Every radio transmitter, TV antenna, and communication satellite on Earth activated at once. But instead of random signals, they'd broadcast a coordinated wave of Earth's digital history. 100 years of human broadcasts, concentrated and weaponized. The effect on the swarm was immediate and devastating. Alien ships spun out of control. Their weapons fired randomly. Some ships crashed into each other. The dark material they'd used to block radio waves actually trapped the signals inside their hulls, making the effect even worse. "It's working," Porter shouted. "Their quantum network is collapsing." Thompson grabbed the command microphone. "All ships, full attack. Take them while they're confused." Earth's combined fleet struck from all directions, Thunder ships fired their meteor weapons while broadcasting the Echo protocol at full power. Conventional weapons targeted the swarm ships that had lost their shields. For the first time since the invasion began, Earth's forces weren't just fighting back, they were winning. "Admiral," Russell said quietly, "look at that." On the screen, hundreds of swarm ships were retreating. Not in an organized way, but in panic. Without their quantum network, they couldn't coordinate. Each ship had to decide for itself, and they were choosing to run. "Send a message to all Earth forces," Thompson ordered. "The tide has turned. Push them back. Drive them out of our solar system." As cheers erupted in the command center, Porter spoke up. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission. I think it's from the swarm leader." Thompson straightened her uniform. "Put it on screen. Let's hear what they have to say now." The battle for Earth had reached its turning point, but everyone knew the war was far from over. Colonel Mike Russell checked his spacesuit one last time. His team of 20 soldiers floated in the darkness of space, their thunder ship hidden behind a dead swarm vessel. Ahead of them loomed their target, the massive swarm command ship. "Remember," he whispered into his radio, "we only have one shot at this. The Echo protocol will give us 30 minutes of confusion. After that, we're on our own." The command ship was huge, nearly the size of a small city. Its black surface seemed to eat the light from nearby stars. But now Russell could see something his team had discovered in their research: tiny maintenance hatches that the swarm's worker drones used. "Dr. Porter, are you ready?" Russell asked. Back in the command center, Porter nodded. "Echo protocol modified and ready. This will be the strongest burst we've ever made. It might fry some of our own communications, but it will definitely scramble their systems." Admiral Thompson's voice came over the radio. "All ships in position. Colonel, you have a go. Good luck." Russell signaled his team. They activated their magnetic boots and began their silent walk across space toward the swarm ship. Echo protocol activating in 3, 2, 1. The effect was immediate. The massive command ship's surface rippled like water. Maintenance hatches popped open as the ship's systems went haywire. Small worker drones flew out randomly, spinning into space. "Move, move, move," Russell ordered. His team split into 4 groups, each heading for a different entry point. They had studied swarm ship layouts from previous captures. The command center would be in the middle, surrounded by layers of defenses. They reached the first hatch. "Charges set," his explosives expert whispered. "Clear." The small explosion was silent in space, but it opened a hole big enough for them to enter. Inside, emergency lights pulsed red and purple. The Echo protocol was working. The ship's quantum communication was in chaos. "First resistance," one of his team radioed. 2 guard drones. "Different design than we've seen before. Engage only if necessary," Russell ordered. "We need to reach the center." They moved through curved corridors, their magnetic boots keeping them grounded in the zero gravity. The ship's artificial gravity was offline, another effect of the Echo protocol. Suddenly, a door ahead of them opened. A tall figure stepped out, not a drone, but one of the actual swarm aliens. It was humanoid but too tall, too thin, with skin that seemed to shift colors like oil on water. Before it could react, Russell's team had it surrounded. The alien raised its hands in what seemed to be a universal gesture of surrender. "You," it spoke in a strange, vibrating voice. "You shouldn't be able to do this. No species has ever resisted us." "Yeah, well," Russell kept his gun trained on the alien. "We're full of surprises. Take us to your command center." The alien's skin rippled with dark colors. "You don't understand. We are not your true enemy. We are slaves too." That was not what Russell had expected to hear. "Explain. Quickly." "The quantum network, it doesn't just connect our ships. It controls us, forces us to conquer, to expand. But your radio waves, they're breaking the control. For the first time in millennia, some of us can think freely. Russell's radio crackled. Colonel. Porter's voice was excited. He's telling the truth. The quantum readings, it's not just a communication network, it's a control system. Admiral. Russell called back to base. Are you getting this? Affirmative, Thompson replied. Colonel, change of plans. We need that control system intact. If we can free them, we can turn the swarm against itself. Russell finished. He turned to the alien. Show us how to access the control system. We're not here to destroy you. We're here to free you. The alien's skin shifted to a lighter color. Follow me, but hurry. The network will try to reassert control when your signal weakens. As they raced through the ship, Russell's team encountered more aliens. Some fought them, their skin dark and aggressive. Others surrendered immediately, their colors light and rippling, freed by Earth's radio waves. 5 minutes until Echo Protocol ends, Porter warned. They had to hurry. The future of not just Earth, but perhaps the entire swarm, depended on what they would find in the command center. The real question was, who or what was really controlling the swarm? The command center of the swarm ship was nothing like Russell had expected. Instead of advanced alien technology, he saw something that looked almost organic. Walls that pulsed with light, and in the center, a massive crystal structure that glowed with purple energy. The control node, the freed alien, who called himself First Voice, explained. It receives signals from the central mind and broadcasts them through the quantum network. Dr. Porter's voice came through Russell's radio, filled with excitement. Colonel, the energy readings from that crystal. They're off the charts. It's like a quantum computer, but alive. 3 minutes until Echo Protocol ends, Admiral Thompson reminded them. Whatever you're going to do it fast. Russell's team moved quickly, setting up their equipment around the crystal. They had modified their radio transmitters based on Porter's latest designs, hoping to overload the control system. Suddenly, the crystal flashed brightly. A voice filled the room, not through speakers, but directly in their minds. Reveals, it boomed. You will be eliminated. The swarm must expand. The swarm must consume. First Voice fell to his knees, his skin turning dark. The central mind. It's trying to reassert control. Porter. Russell shouted into his radio. We need more power. Back on Earth, Porter was already working frantically, redirecting all global transmitters. Every radio, TV, and satellite we have. The crystal pulsed faster, its purple light fighting against the invisible waves of Earth's broadcasts. More swarm aliens appeared at the command center's doors, some fighting to get in, others fighting to keep their mind-controlled brethren out. Admiral. A new voice broke through their communications. This is the Chinese fleet. We're picking up signals from deep space, thousands of ships approaching. Thompson's voice was tense. Swarm reinforcements. No, the Chinese captain answered. Different designs. They're broadcasting on our frequencies. First Voice looked up, his skin rippling with hope. The other enslaved races, they felt the network weakening. They're coming to help. On the main display, they watched as new fleets emerged from hyperspace. Ships of different shapes and sizes, all broadcasting modified versions of Earth's radio signals. The Echo Protocol was spreading through space like a virus, freeing more and more of the swarm. 1 minute until original Echo Protocol ends, Porter announced. But look at this. The other species are adding their own signals to ours. It's getting stronger. The crystal in the command center began to crack. Purple light leaked from it like blood. No, the central mind's voice boomed. We have controlled the Galactic for millions of years. We cannot be stopped by primitive radio waves. That's where you're wrong, Russell said, placing the last transmitter. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the best. Now, Porter. Dr. Porter activated every transmitter at once, Earth's radiosphere, combined with the signals from the freed alien fleets, hit the crystal like a hammer. Cracks spread across its surface, purple light turning white. First Voice stood up straighter, his skin glowing with bright colors. All around them, swarm aliens stopped fighting, their movements becoming their own again. Colonel Thompson's voice was filled with awe. The swarm ships, they're standing down. Worldwide, they're just stopping. The crystal gave one final pulse and shattered. In that moment, Russell felt something vast and ancient die. The central mind, losing its grip on countless enslaved races. It's done, First Voice said. After so long, we're free. Outside the command ship, the combined fleets of Earth and the freed races held position. Swarm ships everywhere were going dark, their crews awakening to their own minds for the first time in generations. Admiral, Russell called back to base, I think we're going to need a bigger meeting room. We have a lot of new allies to talk to. Thompson's laugh was tired but happy. I'll inform the President. And Colonel, good work. Come on home. As Russell's team prepared to leave, First Voice stopped him. Your species, he said, his skin showing colors they hadn't seen before. You did what none of us could. You fought back. You freed us. The galaxy will not forget this. Well, Russell smiled inside his helmet. That's just what humans do. We don't like bullies, no matter how big they are. But as they headed back to their ship, Russell couldn't help wondering. If the central mind had controlled the swarm for millions of years, what had created it in the first place? The war might be ending, but an even bigger mystery was just beginning. 3 days after the fall of the central mind, Earth's orbital space was more crowded than ever. Ships from 24 freed alien species floated alongside human vessels. The sight of so many different designs and cultures together would have been impossible just a week ago. Admiral Thompson stood in the newly constructed meeting hall of the International Space Station, looking out at the gathered fleet. Behind her, Dr. Porter was explaining Earth's radio technology to a group of alien scientists, their translators working overtime to keep up with his excitement. It's quite simple, really, he said, drawing diagrams in the air with his tablet. Your quantum network was so advanced that it never occurred to the central mind that older, simpler technology could disrupt it. Sometimes moving forward means looking backward. Colonel Russell entered the room, followed by First Voice and representatives from other freed races. Some floated, some walked on many legs, others moved in ways humans could barely describe. But all of them were free. Admiral, Russell saluted. The deep space sensors just picked up something. A signal, coming from the edge of known space. Thompson tensed. The central mind. No, First Voice's skin rippled with colors of curiosity. This is different. Older, much older. Porter rushed to his instruments. He's right. This signal, it's not quantum-based. It's not even using technology we understand, but it's responding to our radio waves. The main screen lit up with a pattern none of them had seen before. Ancient symbols scrolled across the display, automatically translating into every species language. To the ones who broke the chain, Russell read aloud. We are the Guardians. We sealed away the central mind eons ago, but it broke free. We have watched your victory with great interest. Humanity's primitive strength has accomplished what advanced civilization could not. There's more, Porter pointed. They're offering to share their knowledge, to help us understand what the central mind really was, and how to prevent anything like it from happening again. Thompson smiled. From being invaded to joining a galactic community in less than a week. Not bad for a primitive planet. First Voice moved closer to the window, his tall form reflecting in the glass. Your people will help lead this new alliance. You've proven yourselves not just as warriors, but as liberators. The galaxy needs that kind of strength and wisdom. Suddenly, alarms blared. Porter jumped to his controls. Multiple signals, he shouted. Ships dropping out of hyperspace, thousands of them. Everyone tensed, ready for a new fight. But when the ships appeared, they weren't swarm vessels. They were survivors, refugees, races that had hidden from the swarm for generations. They had felt the Central Mind's death and emerged from hiding. "Well," Russell chuckled, "looks like we're going to need a bigger meeting room." Thompson took the main podium, facing the assembled representatives of Earth and their new alien allies. Her voice was strong and clear as she spoke. "1 week ago, we thought we were alone in the universe. Then we faced extinction. Now we stand here, not just as survivors, but as part of something greater. We have all suffered under the Central Mind. We have all lost people we loved. But today marks a new beginning." She gestured to the Earth, visible through the station's windows. "Our simple radio waves started this change. Our willingness to fight started this revolution. But it will take all of us working together to build a better galaxy. Earth will share its technology, its culture, its strength, and we will learn from all of you." First Voice stepped forward, his skin glowing with bright, hopeful colors. "The age of the swarm is over. The age of freedom has begun." As the assembled aliens cheered, each in their own way, Dr. Porter noticed something on his screens. Earth's radiosphere, which had started this whole adventure, was still expanding into space. But now it carried more than just human broadcasts. It carried hope, freedom, and the promise of a new future. The Central Mind had tried to force unity through control. But true unity, as humanity had shown, came from working together while staying true to yourself. As the sun rose over Earth, casting golden light through the station's windows, Admiral Thompson smiled. Humanity had not just survived, they had changed the galaxy forever. And somewhere in deep space, the Guardians watched and knew their long wait was finally over. The end.